The second one I want to look at is this. How can a good, loving God send people to hell? Why can't he just take me the way I am? What sort of God is this? A few years ago, I was watching Triple J, the Hack Half Hour, when it used to be on TV. And they had this episode on social networking, Facebooking. And they had this young girl, she was 16, and she was on all the social networking sites, uploading photos of herself, some photos of her partying, of her drinking hard. And then they said, does it worry you that one day when you apply for a job, future employers are going to look through your Facebook photos, they're going to see what you get up to on a Saturday, and you're not going to get the job? And then she said, well, if they're not going to give me the job based on those photos, they've got the problem, not me, because that is who I am. And if they cannot accept me for who I am, well, I don't want to work for them anyway. And maybe that's how we all feel with God. If God doesn't want to take me for who I am and I can be no different, well, I'm not sure I want to be with this God. If I have to come to him on his terms, I'm not sure I want this God. Why can't God just take me the way I am? How can a good, loving God send people to hell? Well, to answer this question, Jesus himself tells us a story. One day he tells his story. He said, hey, it's like this. With God and us, it's like this. God, he's like a rich man. And one day he decides to throw a big banquet, a big party, and he sends out invitations to people to come, food's ready, the party's ready, come, have fun, enjoy yourselves. But everyone they sent the invitation to said no in their own unique personal way. Some people said, I'd love to come, I can't, I just got married. Another person said, I'd love to come, I can't, I just bought a field, a property, need to check it out. Another person said, no, I can't come, I've just bought some cows, need to check them out. And so they all said, nah, in their own polite way, I don't want to come to the party. And then the rich man, he was a bit put out by this. He was quite disrespectful. The party was on. And then he thought, well, you know what? I'm going to just send out invitations to even more people you normally wouldn't invite to a party. So as a rich man, he sent his servants out and they invited people you normally wouldn't invite to a party. The blind, the crippled, the poor, the outcast. And he brought them all in, the homeless, and they got to enjoy the party. And what Jesus is trying to say from this story is this. Why can't a good, loving God, how can a good, loving God send people to hell? He says this. God is actually more inclusive than you and I would be. We have a problem with an exclusive God, but he's saying, no, it's not like that at all. God is actually more inclusive than you and I would be. He invites people to his party that you and I would not invite. Now think about it. We all would love it if everyone could get into heaven, wouldn't we? Like if we had our way, we'd let everyone into heaven. We would. But even we would say, nah, you got to draw the line somewhere. All right, Pol Pot, Stalin, Ku Klux Klan, people smugglers. All right, I'll draw the line there. All right. Well, how are you basing that line on who is out and who is in? Now, we all come up with different criteria. We might say, okay, they can follow any religion they like, but they need to be a sincere believer, we would say, wouldn't we? But what have you just said? The insincere believers, they're not going to get in. So we've drawn a line somewhere. Or we can say, okay, how about they don't need any religion at all? Doesn't matter whether they believe in God or not, as long as they were true to themselves. They kept it real and they were authentic. All right. But what have you just said about the people who aren't true to themselves, who aren't real, who aren't authentic? We say, no, we're drawing a line here. They're out, and only the true to themselves people are in. So we can't help it. We all draw a line somewhere. And what Jesus is saying is this: God is more inclusive than you and I would be, because he lets everyone in. He doesn't care who they are. It's all based on his invitation, and his terms are these: trust and follow Jesus, and that is how you get in. So God is more inclusive than we would be, and people miss out, not so much because God had a problem with them, but because they had a problem with God. They just didn't want to come on God's terms. And so that's it. That's the reason why God does send people to hell. In the end, God's patience runs out, the invitation runs out, and he just gives people what they asked for. They didn't want the party, and God says, fine, you don't have to come to the party. But those who trust in Jesus, they get to enjoy the party. And God is more inclusive than you and I would be.